Hey guys, today we'll be looking at light tanks and how they can be influential in their battles. So first, we'll just go over classifications real quick. Wargaming has two classifications for light tanks. It has versatile light tanks and wheeled light tanks, and pretty much that's true. Versatile light tanks are going to be your tracked vehicles, like this ELC or this Type 64, and then wheeled light tanks obviously are going to have wheels. And at the moment, they're only in the French tech tree. So these tanks can have different playstyles, although the wheeled light tanks pretty much only have one. There are going to be three different playstyles. There's going to be passive, active, and combat. With combat being basically what happens when an active scout survives till mid game, or even early game if you want to go after the enemy light tanks. So first, we'll go over passive scouting. That's going to be you sitting in a bush with a high camo tank waiting for enemies to push into you. There's going to be active scouting, which you're probably going to want to take coated optics over binoculars. And you're going to be driving around full speed, wanting tanks to shoot at you and miss so that your friendlies can shoot at them. Or if you got good view range, you got a commander's vision system or whatever, you're able to see them through bushes and stuff, even if they're not shooting at you. And then also there's combat scouting, and that's basically active scouting, but you going after the enemy light tanks specifically. And tanks are going to be designed for different roles. Like I said before, the EBRs are going to be good at active scouting and combat scouting. Something like this ELC is going to be good at passive scouting. I also take a passive scouting setup and then an active scouting setup on a lot of my tanks, just so that I'm prepared for any situation. But now we'll go over equipment real quick, starting with active scouting. So active scouting and combat scouting, you're going to want to do coated optics. That'll increase your view range all the time, no matter when you're moving or stationary or whatever. For combat scouts, put a gun rammer on there, and then you can choose different things like vertical stabilizers if you want to truly focus on active or combat scouting, or you can do commander's vision system if you want to do a little bit more active scouting. It all just depends on what you're in the mood for. For passive scouting, I like to do low noise exhaust and binoculars. Low noise exhaust will just make your tank more stealthy, and binoculars allow you to see it a lot farther than coated optics. And then for this third slot, you can do commander's vision system, or you can do vents. In this tank, I have a turbo that helped me get into positions faster, so I'm not spotted going into a bush. It just depends on what you want to do, really. A lot of tanks are good at all different types of scouting. The wheeled light tanks are pretty bad at passive scouting because they just have really poor view range, and you cannot put binoculars on them. Plus, they're really fast, so why would you want to stand still when, the tier 10, you can go 91 kilometers an hour. Also, this review will be for tanks in the tiers of 5 and up, because tiers 1 through 4 are going to be all over the place. Like, you're not going to be employing a lot of light tank tactics in a tier 1 or tier 2. In a tier 3, they kind of started getting into roles a lot of the time, what light tanks are supposed to be, and then tier 4 is all over the place again, because this is technically a light tank, but definitely does not have the same characteristics as most light tanks. Alright, we'll go over crew skills real quick, and then we'll jump into a battle. So for crew skills, always brothers in arms and sixth sense. Recon is going to be really important. That increases your view range. Concealment, of course. Other good ones to have, maybe on your gunner, is going to be concealment, designated target. That's a good one, because once it's reached 100% training, when your gun is facing an enemy tank, I think there's like a small cone that it counts that as. They're going to be spotted for 2 more seconds than the rest of the tanks that you're spotting. So say you pop over a ridge and you spot, 3 tanks. If you auto aim one and you just drive back down off the hill or whatever and you're running away and your turret's looking at him, he's going to be spotted for another 2 seconds more than the other guys. So that's really important. For your driver, of course, Brothers in Arms Concealment again. Snapshot, off-road driving, that's really good. That'll help you maintain speed across different terrain types. Clutch braking is good. Radio operator, definitely situational awareness. That's going to increase your view range. Concealment, of course. Call for vengeance. If your radio operator survives when you die, he's going to report enemy locations for another 2 seconds. So that's always helpful. If you just somehow get unlucky and you die, any tanks you're spotting, they're going to stay up for another 2 seconds. Also, if your commander is also the radio operator, like it is on some of the Russian tanks, it's always better to get situational awareness before recon. Situational awareness will give you more spotting distance than recon will. I don't know why it's like that, but that's just how it is. Alright, so with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and jump into a battle, and I'll show you different light tank playstyles in action. Alright, here we are in the game, and we'll go ahead and get started. So here you can see me flipping through my equipment, trying to figure out what I want to do, and I knew right away what I wanted to do at the beginning, and that's going to be passive spotting, because there's a really nice bush here, where I can get lots of spots on the enemies as they're fanning out from their spawn zones. I just didn't know if I was going to spend a lot of time passive scouting or what, so I went with my active scouting setup. I'm still going to get plenty of spots off and have decent enough view range to spot things. So here we are, sitting in a bush, we're passive spotting. We're not going to be shooting because we'll get spotted and die. This is a really good bush, but it's also very obvious, especially in the higher tiers. A lot of people, including myself, will be blind firing this bush. Very obvious bush, but it's very good if you're facing players who don't know about it. So this is passive scouting. This is it. It can be pretty boring, but it'll get you some good results on certain maps like this one or Prokhorovka. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I should do next, and I see this P-26. I think it's a P-26. Yeah, P-26, who's shooting while sitting right behind me. And then I see a T1 Heavy come up, and I know, yeah, I'm just out of here, because they're going to be shooting, and somebody's going to shoot at them and miss and hit me, and I don't want that, so I'm just going to peace out. I get spotted by the type, so I'm going to just do a little bit of evasive maneuvers, get out of there, get unspotted, and then try to figure out where to go from there. So, looking at the map and looking at chat, you can see we have nobody on the hill. Nobody spotting the hill. So I'm just going to take a position around here and see what I can do. But we have a Panzer IIJ for some reason that just charges right down the hill at artillery. So we're going to go ahead and try to take him out of the game, or at least take him out. So I'm going to wiggle again so that if anybody tries to shoot at me, they're going to miss. And we'll resume our positions. So my goal is to get up to this hill in front of me and sit in a bush and spot guys as they push down. But first I'm just going to do a quick peek and see if anybody's in funky locations. And there we go, we have an M4 and a Cheeto on the lower part of the hill, trying to get some sneaky shots off. I spot them, I'm just going to try to get out of there. I'm going to wiggle, they miss, and I'm just going to wait until I get unspotted here. Stay below the ridge line so they can't see me. And then I'm going to pull up into this bush here. And if you see my bush mechanics video, this will look familiar to you. I'm going to pull up to the bush where I can see through it. I'm going to spot the tanks. I'm going to pull back behind the bush where I can't see through it anymore. And that's going to give me the full concealment value. And I'm just going to shoot these tanks. Get some nice damage off. And so now we've gone from passive spotting in the beginning to now we're going to do some combat scouting. So we're going to put some shots in this KV2's fuel tanks. He's burning, and there he goes. Top tier heavy tank gets taken out without taking anything in return. So now we have the medium tank that's pushing. He knows where I'm at, so I'm just going to get out of here. Because I don't really fully trust myself 1v1ing a same tier medium tank when he has support, and I potentially may not. Because I don't know what that E2's firing lines are going to be looking like. So I'm just going to pop up again and respot him. This is the combat scouting as I was talking about. I'm just going to spot him and shoot him. I'm going to dodge his shots. I'm just going to let friendlies take him out. So wiggling, trying to avoid his shots. He gets lucky and hits me, and friendly artillery gets a nice shot and kills him. So now there's only the M4 that's spotted at least over on this side of the map, so I'm just going to try to find him and take him out. Even if he's using the derp gun, he most likely won't be able to one-shot me, so I feel confident going in against him. I'm going to be using this tree to keep me concealed. I'm just going to open up into this guy. First 3 shots are good. They pull out and respot him. Next 2 shots go wide on either side. So this third, I'm just going to take my time and aim it. And he nudges his shoulder out a little bit more, and that allows me to get the kill. So now I'm going to retake the hill. I'm going to secure that position, secure the high ground, so that I can then push off into the enemy forest to the south. But we spot a KV-1 and a Panzer IV-H. Friendly KV-85 takes out the Panzer IV-H, and I'm going to move up on this hill so that I can shoot down on the KV-1 while staying safe from these guys that are probably going to be sitting here or here. So now we got in a position, and we're just going to get really unlucky now. We're going to bounce 3 shots, get hit by the Type position so that the Type can't hit us anymore. We're going to get 1 shot in before the KV-85 finishes him off. KV-85 invites me to a dynamic platoon, so we were both on 2 kills at that point. I'm going to go for brothers in arms here, and we're just going to be working together to clear out the last couple enemies. So here I'm just going to pop up on this ridge, so that my plan was I was going to go around down here and get up behind him and shoot him from the bushes. But this P-26 spotted him instead, so I'm just going to shoot at him up here where he can't spot me, because you can see my spotting range here. He's outside of that, which means I'm also outside of his, and he's not going to be able to see me. We're going to put shot after shot into him. And this gun is in the world, so he's going to get away. And so now we're just going to charge down the hill. We're going to go from combat scouting now to active scouting. We're going to find these last couple tanks. And, friendlies are going to take care of that Type for me. I'm not even really going to worry about it. But there's a Hetzer and an SU-85B that have been unspotted this whole game. So now we're just going to go active scouting and looking for them. We're just going to be taking a direct line of path to where I think they'll be. The Hetzer, if he's using the 105mm gun, can potentially one-shot me if he penetrates with high explosive. At this point, if he shoots, I'm going to spot him. I'm going to know. Even if I die, that I'm going to get spotting damage from that. So there he is. I spot him, and he's using the 75. So I'm just going to run rings around him. This is how you take out tank destroyers. Light tanks, really easy. Friendly takes out the SU-85B, and that's the game. 2,500 damage, 2,200 spotting, and 3 kills. Alright, quick look at the battle results screen here. Ace Tanker, Spotter, Bruiser, Arsonist, Fire for Effect. We got Scout for scouting at least 9 enemies. Brothers in Arms for that platoon invite from, shout out to Joshua Barger for that platoon invite. Got us the Brothers in Arms there. Patrol Duty for spotting at least 6 enemy vehicles and having friendlies shoot them. And High Caliber. So we spotted 11 enemies here, did 2,217 spotting and assistance damage, 2,536 normal damage and 3 kills, 1,541 base XP, and that's it. Thanks for watching.